Hello and welcome back to Questiqa One. Today, let's talk about something that affects millions of students and families across India: the state of engineering degrees and how our education system is struggling to keep up with the pace of the modern tech world. For decades, engineering in India has been seen as the golden ticket. If you are good at math or science, chances are you have been nudged, sometimes pushed towards engineering. The degree became a cultural badge of honor. Parents believed it guaranteed stability, respect, and a secure, high-paying job. Coaching classes mushroomed everywhere, and every year, lakhs of students sit for JEE and state engineering exams, fighting for a spot in colleges that often promise more than what they deliver. But here's the reality check. The system is not keeping up. According to AICT data, India produces over 1.5 million engineers every year. Yet surveys show that only about 45% are employable in their core field. The rest of them, many end up in jobs unrelated to engineering, in sectors like sales, clerical roles, or even preparing for government exams. So why is this happening? The biggest problem is curriculum relevance. While the world outside is buzzing with artificial intelligence, blockchain, renewable energy, space tech, and biotech revolutions, our engineering syllabus still spends semesters on outdated coding languages, rote memorization, and decades-old mechanical designs. Students graduate having crammed formulas but not learned problem solving. They have passed exams but not learned to innovate. Meanwhile, the tech industry is running at the lightning speed. Startups and global companies want engineers who can code in modern frameworks, design sustainable systems, and adapt to constant technological shifts. But the gap between what is taught and what is needed keeps on growing wider and wider. So why did in fact the companies like Infosys and TCS spend months retraining fresh graduates just to make them industry ready? Think about that, 4 years of engineering and still the first thing you're told is forget what you learned and let's start again. This also has a deeper impact on education as a whole, because when engineering becomes the default path, creativity suffers. Students who might have excelled in design, liberal arts, or entrepreneurship are pushed into an assembly line system. Education becomes less about learning and more about surviving the exams. Less about curiosity and learning and more about chasing placements. And that leaves us with a generation trained to follow instructions but not to question, challenge, or create. Now, it's not all doom and gloom. There are brighter sides to this. There are sparks of change on the way. The National Education Policy NEP 2020 talks about multidisciplinary learning and flexibility. A few forward-looking institutes are integrating AI, data science, and hands-on projects into their courses. Some private edtech companies are offering upskilling programs that are far more relevant than traditional classrooms. But these are still islands in a vast ocean of outdated structures. So where does that leave us? Honestly, it is a turning point. India has one of the world's largest young populations. If our education system reforms now, updating syllabi, training faculty, encouraging innovations, we could build a generation ready for the 21st century tech revolution. But if we keep clinging to the old ways, we risk creating millions of degree holders with no real world value. And that's not just a personal tragedy, it is a national one. The truth is simple, a degree is no longer enough. What matters is skills, adaptability, and the courage to keep learning. And until our institutions reflect that reality, this is not just an engineering issue, it is a wake-up call for our education system. Because in a world that's moving fast, irrelevance is the biggest risk of all.